Okay, we are into July 17th. I am back at the shop, and I am glad that was a shorter week than normal, so it gives me a little more time here. Where to begin? Let's begin with what we were up against last week when I built this engine cradle. I had the table pulled out here about where this trailer's at, and I was using these grinders right here, and I had them hooked up to this, and I had them stretched over here to the table, and every time I set one down it would fall off the table. I had a vacuum or a magnet sucking them things right off the table. So that was frustrating, and whenever I have a challenge in the shop, the next time I come back to the shop, I like to correct that challenge. So I put some thought to this. And I think right there is a answer. I ain't saying it's the only answer. I'm just saying that it is a answer. I am going to work on this a little bit at some point. Where else was I? Now that I've got some rest, I want to take that drive out. I did learn that, I wish this camera would stop stopping, but I did learn that's a fuel filter, fuel water separator, and I'm glad that my welding here didn't blow that up here. So, that being said, had I known it, I'd have took it off. I also decided I'm going to change these belts. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to take this off, and the drive off, and correct my grinder hanging issues. Did think about putting a grinder hanger under the table, but I'm not a fan of bending over for much of anything. If I can keep it up high and still use it and make it function, I would rather do that. The boat, watched a lot of Frisco boater. By the way, this was another one I'm still waiting on the camera. These right here give me handles to move my table around with, which was great. Then I want to clean my sander out. Clean my vacuum cleaner out, because last time I was here I was doing some sanding and the vacuum cleaner seemed to be losing some efficiency, so I thought that's where I'd start this time. I would get fully dressed out with respirator and all and clean the sander out, and then I would start sanding on the hull inside. And in the morning I'm going to sand some more, and then I'm going to go to Grand Forks, pick up a window that I ordered that I broke out of my Kia the last time I was home. And then we'll come back and sand some more. And that's mostly what this trip is about, is sand, and replace a window. Sand some more, maybe. Why all the sanding all of a sudden? Well, because this is July 17th, and I only get until the end of August to have the engine ready to go back in. And that is because of the temperatures it takes to work with this stuff, and we're in North Dakota. So, that being said, what's it take to put it back in? It takes this part on the other side completely sanded down. It takes this part on the other side completely cleaned. It takes the camera again, locking up on me, don't know why. This is the transom board. I need to cut my angles down here. I also need to cut a flat after cutting the angles so I can go above where the drain hole is going to be. And then I need to acquire a pipe and find my little drain that I took off of it, which is going to be in this box right here full of ziplocked and marked parts somewhere. And then I need to cut all the little boards that go down the sides. They're little individual boards that go down the sides. I need to cut them to fit, and then I need to waterproof all of those, both sides. And that hopefully will be this weekend and next time I come home. Well, this week, I'm actually in the middle of the week, going back out on Saturday, but that's why we're sanding. I need to get the sanding out of the way, then I need to get the waterproofing out of the way, then I need to get the cleaning out of the way, and then I should be ready around the 1st of August to start fiberglassing and thickened resin and all the fun stuff to put this thing back together. And that gives me all of August, temperature wise, to get it back together and gel coated so I can drop and get it off my What else is on my brain? I love Frisco Boater. Frisco, you would think San Francisco, right? No, it's Frisco, Texas. It's Jay out of Frisco, Texas on Frisco Boater on YouTube. I have seen all of his project videos that would pertain to what I'm embarking on, which is fiberglassing and transom repair and eventually flooring and all that other fun stuff. And when I am on the road and my boss gets challenged with needing extra time to work out the logistics of the next load, I usually end my day one fiberglassing video. And now I'm at the point where I've got it, but I go back to it. I get questions. I start thinking about things in my mind, and I get questions about right and wrong, what's the next step, and then I'll go back to one of his videos, and I've done a lot of that this week. And he has so many ideas on so many areas that I did not have any idea on what to do next. One of them is the driver's seat. I wanted to put in a swivel driver's seat, and I could put in both seats swivel, but I'm actually going to remove one of the seats and leave it out. Reason being is I want as much space in the boat as possible. That leaves room for the tube. The driver's seat that I want in it that will be a swivel seat, every time I see a every time I see a floor, like a boat shop floor for sale, they're tall. They're too tall. And I know they're too tall. And he addressed that in one of his videos, and he showed me how you can cut the pedestal and make it the height you really want it, and how to mount the pedestal, and you know, just things like that. He's got ideas. He brought up a word. You know, I'm no boat expert, obviously. This is all new to me. When I took this out, I questioned what the 3 screws were on the other side one day in one of my other videos. Well, the 3 screws, was the 3 screws I took out of this. So I sent a picture of this to my son, and I said, what is this? Is this for the depth finder? And he said, no, it is for the speedometer. Oh, okay. Not sure if I need it. Not sure if it's even going back on my boat, because I probably won't be doing full speed anyway. Right. But Jay brought up something. He used a word that I am going to answer a question that I had in my mind now. I know there's a bilge pump down here, but there was also another component. I thought it was a float. But we basically have this little gizmo, that's a bilge pump. That little gizmo's a float. Oh, what's this down here? That's your depth finder. That's your sonar deal to tell how deep you are. And I did not know that until I watched some of Jay's videos this week. Now I know. I think this is kind of the way I started trucking. I started out as a mechanic, and I learned my way around the truck long before I ever started driving one, and it has been invaluable to me all these years. I've been doing it for almost 30 years, and I'm not an expert on anything. Everything's changed, but having that experience when I first began really was a good thing for me. It really was. I am not going to put in a ski locker. Why? I don't ski. I don't know anybody in this family that can ski. And the truth is, this boat really ain't good enough to, isn't really what you want to learn to ski on in today's world if you really want to ski. But this area here is going to be for the tube. I'm still waiting on the train to get out of here, and I want to make this lower and upper part go away. I want to make that flat. That means this would be shorter. What is this? This is where the toilet was. Well, I'm not going to put a toilet there when I redo my boat. Why? Don't plan to spend that much time on the lake. If I need to use the restroom, I'll take her back to the pier. The refrigerator, probably coming out. It probably don't work. And I want to redo all of this because of the areas down here that are suffering from dry rot. When I redo them, I want to put them back the way that I like, not the way the factory likes. That's the beauty of being the man who owns the boat. And that is next year. That is going to be beyond this year's temperatures, and that's the area I was talking about. Now, Jay brought up something that was shocking to me, because like I said, last time I was here, I did not know how far my resin would go. He did a boat very similar to this, probably smaller, but he did it, well, I'm sure it was smaller, but he did it all the way down to the pink stuff, the whole hull, completely gutted it. And when he put it back together, he had ordered three 5-gallon buckets of resin. He said he was getting them, I'm sorry, he did that twice. He was at 30 gallons of resin on that one project. Shell shock. I did not know it was going to take that much resin to do this boat, and I still don't exactly know what all I'm going to do. I do know that there's other things on my mind, and I will address that. But the resin he was talking about buying at $120 per 5-gallon bucket for the good stuff, and the junk was $70 per 5-gallon bucket. I don't know where he's getting his prices. I wish he had threw me a bone with a corporate plug. You know, tell me what it is, where it is, where can I talk to these people? Because everything I'm seeing is a lot more expensive than that. The good stuff that I'm seeing, that they're calling good stuff, below waterline quality, the stuff they're labeling, please use this below the water, is about $60 a gallon. And right there is a gallon of it, and I bought a gallon, and I was going to start this project with another gallon. But if it takes that much resin, I think before I start this, I'm going to start with 3 gallons of it, not 2 gallons, and try to get the transom back in and learn what I think I need to order next year. But I'm not going to have any 5-gallon containers of anything this year because I don't want to sit on it over the winter and have to worry about storing it and have to worry about it freezing. So that's currently the plan. I will order in 1 more gallon of gel coat and 2 more gallons of resin before I start this. I don't know. I know there's going to be effect, and I know the thickened resin you got to have, and milled fibers, and I ordered some in. Again, no experience, trying to get a grip on what it is I was embarking on, and I don't know if I got enough. I know I ordered some, I know I got some, and I know I ordered like 2 of each of the smallest containers you can get, and that'll be involved in this. I probably ought to really research how much thickened resin I'm going to, how much Cabosil and milled fibers I will need to actually make that much thickened resin to finish the transom. Fun.